I don't know, y'all. If rotation is locked, rotate device. Oh, okay. I gotta rotate device back. Sorry, y'all. I told y'all this is crazy. I'm sorry about that in the front. Maybe I'll edit it out later. All right. So now I gotta figure out how to get y'all to see me because y'all like right up in my face. Now I can't see you. All right, so I kind of have to be like this, right? Howdy, howdy, howdy. So let me see if I can see your comments. This is gonna be funny, y'all, because I didn't know I could do this either. I hope I can see you all's comments. I'll be right back. This is gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be funny. I'm gonna have y'all this way. And for some reason, my, I don't know why. Something. I don't know why, but somehow the long arm of my tripod, it wants to slide up and down. How art thou? I'm here. I'm trying to change this around. Y'all bear with me while I do this. Okay. Hey, hey. How art thou? Hey, Karen. Hey, Miss Addie. All right. It's you go. You got so many names. Oh, you on Tim's laptop. Hey, Tim. I know he's somewhere around. All right. So how's that? So I figured out why my little, why my machine, not my machine, Lord Jesus, why my video is just in that little square box. And I didn't realize I could rotate it. I didn't realize there was a feature on there to do that. So, y'all, it seems like that I am just today years old. I am just learning a whole bunch of stuff today. So thank y'all for hanging out with me. If y'all don't mind, hit that like button. I appreciate y'all commenting, and make sure you share this out if you can, so that others can follow me, y'all, because I just didn't feel like fumbling today and going through that where I posted, where I try to tag everybody, let everybody know. If you're in the So Much Talent Facebook group, share this out there for me. Y'all, I just got through putting a bustle on a gown. And I wish I could like post pictures virtually like right now in real time, but I can't. So these are some of the things that I'm going to show you over on the Patreon side, and maybe even on the Instagram side. So for those of you who don't know, this is a great segue to tell you that I have done two things that I said I was going to do, and I have just decided to just do it. So I'm going to do it with the mistakes. I'm going to do it with the lack of knowledge. I'm going to do it with all of the things. But if I don't start somewhere, I won't start. So I've been been trying to actually create a Patreon channel on Instagram so that I could holler at my folks. I said holler at because I'm a country girl. So holler at my folks on Instagram, those that are not on Facebook. So yeah, most times I gravitate to Facebook to do lives, or at least that's where I was for a long time, doing live videos, just hanging out, sewing, all times of the night. I realize I can't do that part on Instagram inside the broadcast channel. However, I can chat with you all, and I can share things that I don't share out in the public first. Like projects that are coming up. I might take polls on what challenge to post or start or put out there. What do you want to see next? Answer questions, those type of things. So got off to a little rocky start with the Patreon, not with the Patreon, but with the Instagram broadcast channel because I tried to post a video and I don't know if it was just too long or I don't know what the situation is. And it might be a setting that I have on Instagram because I just did another video over there and it's not allowing it to post right away like they normally do. So I'm not sure what's happening. I have to check my settings. But I did. Today is Tech Talk Tuesday. And what that means is I posted a poll on inside the broadcast channel yesterday to find out what you guys were looking for, what you like to see from me, from So Much Talent. Because I don't want to just put out stuff just to be putting stuff out there. I want it to be something that you would be interested in seeing, knowing about, and that's going to be relevant to you. So you guys by majority want to know more about sewing tips and techniques. And as I mentioned, I'll be coming from the point of what I do. I want to do a more elevated. When I say more elevated, there are other people out there, y'all. So I'm not thinking I'm the only one. Promise you. But a lot of you have asked me about sharing about alterations, how to do alterations, certain alterations, tips and techniques. Also, I'm a bridal wear and formal wear designer. I'm an expert alterationist or alteration specialist. So I specialize in bridal wear and formal wear, in women's clothing. So I can share a lot in those areas and I love sharing it. So I'll be sharing on Tuesdays tips and techniques from that vein. And there are other things that I'll share also. I will be launching my very first, probably only, Patreon channel for the first time. The account has been there and I've just been looking at it, playing around with it. But I've been telling you guys for the longest that I will be starting back up my classes. Those of you that have been rocking with me for a long time know that I've hosted fitting classes, pants fitting classes, dress fitting classes, skirts. I think we did a dress class one time. Also, I hosted a class called Formally Priced to talk about how to price your garments or how to price your projects, whatever you're working on. I'm mainly going to come from the vein of pricing formal wear because that's what I do. Also, I will be sharing behind the scenes type stuff in the Patreon channel. I will be hosting interviews like you've seen on here. If you scroll back a little bit, you'll see from time to time I've hosted interviews with people in the sewing community. But this time I will host like seminars and webinars based on teaching and sharing skill sets. So I'll have people on that know how to do certain things, that maybe that lends to the vein of dressmaking and garment construction. So I have someone on that's good at illustrating, someone that's good at pattern drafting. I have someone that's coming on that's good at draping. So I've taught a class on draping. One of the classes that I taught was what was it? Designer gown. It was called designer gown class. I did it once, and I think that was right before COVID. And so I'm bringing that class back, and that was like a 6-week class. But in that class, you learn how to take your illustration, and these are classes where you don't have to be perfect. You will not have had to been to class or taken classes. I want to share from the point of just do it. Just start where you are. And if you decide that you want to go to class or something past this point, or if you're in class, so be it, that's fine. But this is not from a formal teaching scenario, if that makes sense. Like I have not had formal education. Like everything that I've learned is pretty much hands-on. I've learned from people I've like my mother. I don't know if you've seen that gentleman on the wall above me, which is my great grandfather. Now, of course, he didn't teach me because I was not living back in 1917, but it's in my blood, right? And so I've learned from family. When I was 9 years old, I think maybe 10 years old, I went to my first formal school, which was just a 2-week singer sewing class. It's like a sewing camp for kids. And I always share this picture because this is where I made my first garment. And I still keep that picture. Let's see. I keep this picture because it reminds me where I started. Like my mother, she would make all of our clothes. She's a registered nurse. And so she would make all of our clothes, like for school, for church, for special occasions like Easter, holidays, and things like that. And so I would take her scrap fabrics and I would sew for my doll. I would just shape the clothes around my doll. So she saw that I was interested, and she sent me to this 2-week singer sewing class. I wasn't old enough, and maybe y'all heard the story before. I wasn't old enough, but I was tall enough to look like I was supposed to be in that class. And so I still remember to this day that classroom setting. I remember what it looked like. I can almost smell it. And not that it was smelling bad or anything, but it was, I just remember. I could see it in my head. I remember the lighting. And I just remember how I felt taking that class, and I think I was in the midst of some that were obviously all of them were older than me. But I just felt like I belonged, right? And so I never forget, that was me. I was skin and bones. I was very tall, all legs. And that romper that I made, it was really simple. Looking at it now, it was simple. But then, of course, I had to learn how to read the pattern. I had to learn how to pin. I had to learn how to cut. And lay the pattern out and stuff like that. I had to learn how to use scissors and pins, all the things, and how to set elastic in. And that fabric was a seafoam terry cloth. And that was the name of the color was seafoam terry cloth. And I did really good. And I went on to go through middle school. Back then they had home economics, so I took up sewing, home economics, which included sewing and some cooking classes. But I was one of the top in my sewing class with another young lady that was there. And then all through high school, I made all my clothes. And towards the end of high school, I started my business, so to speak. I would, at that time, all the kids were doing straight leg jeans. So we were taking our wide leg jeans and making them narrow. And so they all knew who to come to. When I was in my junior year of high school, I made my first wedding gown for a cousin of mine. And that was my first experience on business. Yeah, I'll tell that story another time. But anyway, that's kind of how I got started. And as I, through the years, I would take courses online. When I say take courses online, I would rent videos from not Neiman Marcus, Lord, why I say Neiman Marcus? I would rent videos from, sorry, y'all, I can't. Oh, I'm messing with stuff. I ain't got no business messing with. Anyway, I would take classes from online, Nancy Zeman. And many of you might be familiar with her. She had Sewing with Nancy. And so I would take and rent. She had a video program where you can rent videos for about 2 weeks. And then she sent mailer packets back where you can mail them back in. You can rent some more. So between her and Sandra Betzina and there was another lady. There was Ron Collins. There was Kenny King. There was all these people that were on PBS that I would just glean from. And Roberta Carr, she was a couture specialist, designing, teaching on pants and the measurements and things like that. So I would go to the library, like physical library, and get books and pick up stuff like that. So that's how I came into my skill set. And one of the other things, I tell this story all the time, is that, y'all, I know I'm an expert alteration specialist, but I hated it. Like, literally, that's a strong word, but that's how strong I felt about it. I hated alterations. And but it became the thing that taught me. It became the thing that helped me improve my skill set to learn how to make the garments. So when I got married, I was a banker before I got married. But when I started having kids, I came home. We decided that I would come home because I didn't want my kids in daycare and all that stuff. So I became a stay-at-home mom. And but I decided to start sewing for people to help supplement the income. And so that's what I did. I would take clients in my home, and I met all kinds of people, did all kinds of things from praise dance wear, altering, making vests and ties. Yeah, Susan Calgie. Yes, exactly. I used to watch Susan Calgie, and there was another lady too. Beeman or Beeman. Anyway, it was one of the ladies. Sue is her first name. I can't remember her last name, but anyway, I would just do stuff like that, and it really helped. It really helped, and so now this is what I do. My niche is bridal and formal wear, and I love it. Like, I used to watch old glam Hollywood movies and just swoon over all the clothes and the glamour and stuff. And I think that's why I got into, this the way I did. But I'll tell you more about that story, part 2, later. But if you want to hear the rest of the story, you might want to join me on Seam Makers on Instagram, or you might want to join the Patreon channel where you can hear the rest of the story. All right, because there's more to it of how my business evolved over the years. But anyway, Patreon is the other thing. Like I said, that will be launching on Friday, if all goes well. So y'all keep your prayers up for me. But those are the things that you'll be able to find in that. There's 3 different levels, and I'll talk about that later. But once it go live, I'll go into detail about all of that. But it'll be easy to get into. There's different levels that you can enter in at. It just depends on where you want to take your skill set and how much you want to glean from. All right. But when it comes to Patreon and when it comes to YouTube, all of my Patreon members, my patrons, will be able to see me live, much like you are now. Now, I may still come on periodically live here on YouTube, but most times my patrons will get the live viewing first, and then you'll get the replay here. So it depends on what it is. Like I say, there might be times I'll still come live and kick it with y'all over here on YouTube, but for the most part, stuff like I'm doing now, the sew alongs, like I am tonight, getting ready to work some more on my wearable muslin, and you'll be able to see behind the scenes stuff like this before the making, the process of making of a garment. But I want to show more of like formal wear gowns and things that I'm working on, the alterations, the details of it, how to alter something. Like today I altered a wedding gown, which had to have a hem with a lace border trim on it, and also had to bustle it, and I had to sew in a actual corset bra, not built-in bra cups, but I had to sew in a bra in this gown. And then I had to also alter a bridesmaid dress that needed a hem. It was a 3-layer chiffon gown. Then I had to shorten the straps on it. So those things that some of you are interested in knowing more about, I want to be able to share that with you all on that side. All right, Goldie, you are so welcome. You are welcome. All right, so tonight, like I said, I'm getting ready to go back into this. I hope you all can see me okay. I'm gonna pull this back a little bit so maybe you can see a bigger space of what I'm doing, because I am going to show you where I am with my jacket. Let me just say this before I get started. Well, let me go ahead and pull this over. I'm gonna pull my mannequin over so you can see. I got carts of tools and stuff all over the place. And then I've got my okay. All right, so this is where I am so far. And you know, I left off the other day pressing the interfacing in. I used that Shape Flex. What is it? What is the interfacing? Pelon. Pelon has it. Sorry about that, y'all. That was my little clips. Pelon has it, and it's SF101. But I bought it from, and Goldie, I don't know if you know this, but House of Fabrics, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with it, in Columbia, South Carolina. They have this interface, and of course they get it from a different vendor, but it's 45 inches wide. So, and they don't do like Joann's where you buy so much of it, the interface is 50% off and stuff like that. So I think it was like $10 a yard. It sounds like a lot, but it's twice as wide as the average interface. The average interface is like 22, maybe 24 inches wide. And this was 45 inches wide. So I'm paying what, like $5 for the half a yard or for the half of it. Whereas when I bought it from Joann's or anywhere else, it was what, like $6.97, $7 a yard from Joann's, unless you bought it 50% off. But anyway, I got 2 yards of it so I could interface the jacket. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to interface the whole jacket since it's a wearable muslin, because I do plan on wearing it, y'all. I was just going to interface the front and leave the back and not the sleeves, but I decided to go ahead and interface the whole thing. So y'all can catch that video, the last video from this one. So, and then I interfaced all of the pails and everything. But yeah, that shop is called House of Fabrics, and it's on Bush River. All right, so y'all, I'm excited about this jacket because, y'all, this is my outfit that I am using to create a mock muslin for the Zendaya suit that she wore at the Met Gala, that white suit that I can't get out of my head. So I want to make it in a green. I want a green suit, and I have a white. So y'all, I did not do, if you can see right here, I have the roll lines marked right here. So, and generally on a formal wear garment, not a formal wear garment, but if you're doing a very structured or tailored garment, you would use a twill to kind of map out the roll line so it will automatically roll out. But I'm not going to do that because, again, this is a mock garment. But if you know, the suit that Zendaya was wearing is a fitted suit. I mean, it's very tailored. And so I feel like I've achieved that look in this right here. It is going to have shoulder pads in it. And that's going to bring that out. And then once I put, you know, the face and everything in, I feel like it's a great fit. This is a very unique inset for this jacket. And the reason why I say it's very unique is because usually you would have just the jacket front, the jacket side front, side back, and the jacket back. Well, the way this front is made is that you have the whole lapel and the shoulder, and then you have this front piece that's shaped weird. like it shapes like a little L backwards, if that makes sense. And then the side front piece is a little short piece that goes down to here, and it stitches onto this part right here. Actually, this part here was meant to be the opening for the welt pocket. I'm not doing a welt pocket. I'm going to do a mock patch pocket. I didn't see that comment. Sorry, I might have to go get my other, let's see. Well, because it's denim, I'm thinking of not doing it. That's the only reason that I'm not going to probably roll it out. Plus, I didn't want to put too much in this one. But because it is denim, I feel like it's going to be okay. But yeah, I thought about it. But anyway, yeah, so I'm excited about how it's coming out. I've got to go ahead and just start putting the rest of it in. But when it comes to this, like I said, I'm just going to do the patch pocket here. I close this up. And I had to get very strategic about how I close this up because of the way it's made. You're supposed to clip this in here just like you would do a welt pocket. So it didn't leave enough room to kind of create a seam. But what I did was turn it into a dart. So I had to stitch it maybe like a 1/4 of an inch from here to taper in to like a point, like a dart point here. And so it just created a dart right there. So I had to give that a really good press. And same thing over here, just give it a good press. I had to think about that one because it didn't look like it was going to come out right. So, but y'all, I'm very excited. And if it ends up not working well with this, which I pray it will, I don't see why it wouldn't. I'm still going to wear this jacket. I just have to make me a separate pair of denim jeans to fit like I want it to. If I make another pair of denim jeans, I probably would do that Mimi G pattern that we all have used hundreds of times. That's really fitted in here in boot cut. That would be the ideal pants for this. But I am using a similar pants to this one. I showed you all in the last video the pattern that I'm actually using for this one. It will work out. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So this one is from another pattern. It's from another Vogue pattern. I don't have it in front of me, but if you go back to the last video, you'll be able to see it. But it's very similar to this one, the Vogue 1870, which it is fitted at the top and then boot cut or flared out, which is what I love. The only difference between that pattern and this pattern and this pattern is a crop pants, which I was going to make it long, and but I cut my vest out first. Didn't realize I just bought enough for the pants, and so of course Joann's closing right now, and I can't buy no more. So probably can find it somewhere, but I'm not worried about that. So I'm going to keep it cropped, and they look good. They're fitted. I just got to add the waistband and hem it and do all the things. So I've already talked about that. So I just want to go ahead and start working on this, finish this, because I am super excited. I'm super excited. All right. So tell me what you guys are working on tonight. What are you guys working on? Tomorrow, I think I'm going to share with the seam makers what I actually purchased in, or did I share it already? I may have shared it already. I'll see. I have to go back and look at my videos. I might have shared it the other night on this video while I was working on this jacket. Let me know if I shared with you all what I purchased in Columbia at House of Fabrics. I purchased a beautiful trim that I want to use on, I may use on my white fabric when I make the suit. Because, let me see. Let's see which one it is. Okay. I'm trying to find all my pieces, y'all. Hang on. I got them cut out and I had them laid out. I actually had the lining for the vest cut out as well. Yeah, so I gotta figure out what I did with all my pieces. Y'all know I be putting stuff up and don't know where to put it, hiding it from myself. I want to show y'all something really quick. I'm gonna push you right back here in the corner. Or I might move her out the way. Oh, y'all know what? Uh-oh. Y'all know what? I'm over here looking for my stuff, and I know don't nobody do this but me. I'm over here looking for this stuff, and guess where it is? Or did I just put that there? How did I do that? Y'all, that's funny. I don't even remember doing that. Did y'all just see me put this here? I didn't just do that. Did I? Oh my goodness. I don't remember. I don't remember doing it. All right, y'all. So now I got to put my hands on my fabric. Uh-oh, I'm caught up in some thread. Okay, y'all. Now I'm lost. It's in here in this room somewhere. It's got to be. Where is it? Where else is it going to be? All right, so don't laugh at me, y'all. Sure. Listen, don't laugh at me. It's an alteration, him and some pants and making, I saw something about making curtains. The comments don't stay up like they normally do the other way. Sharita, don't laugh at me. Listen, I'm so serious, y'all. I don't even remember doing that. I don't, y'all probably saw me do it, but I don't remember doing it. That comes from having a whole lot of stuff on your mind at one time. And all right, y'all. That's fabric for my project. I'll come back and talk to you about that white one. I'm gonna go ahead and move her out the way for a second, because I don't need her in the way. And I'm going to try to hunt down my fabric. I mean, where else could it be? I just saw I had it in a nice little pile, so it'll be ready for me to sew with today. Y'all, I'm getting concerned about myself. I'm getting concerned about myself, y'all. Okay, that's scary. Oh my goodness, where is it? Huh. Okay, all right. I found it. So I'm like, Lord Jesus, is it getting that bad? Maybe I need another vacation. That wasn't long enough. That wasn't a long enough vacation if I got to go through them kind of changes. Okay. Oh my goodness, y'all. All right, so just a quick pause. This was the white fabric that I want to use. I showed you the green one in the last video, but I have two different white fabrics, and they're really like a soft white, but this is a lightweight crepe, stretch crepe suiting that I got from Kiki's Textiles, y'all. And listen, I know it's 60 y'all on here, Some of y'all probably heard me just ask this question a little while ago, but why y'all didn't tell me, or why y'all let me be the only one? Well, I think some other people didn't know either, so that's good. Curry didn't leave me by myself. But why is it that I was today years old finding out that that the lady from Kiki's Textiles that's in all the commercials is Victoria from Project Runway season 18? Y'all didn't have to tell me. Buying fabrics from the lady, didn't even know who she was. It's all right. Somebody been gatekeeping. I mean, y'all let me in on buying the fabrics and stuff, but y'all didn't tell me who she was. Didn't even know. All right, so I'm gonna let that go now for now, though. I'm gonna let it go. I'm not gonna bother y'all about that one. All right, so I had to actually make me a little chart on buttonholes. I know you can't read that backwards. I wish YouTube had a feature where you can mirror stuff right off. Y'all, you know what? Let me go get my okay, pinch pleat curtains. You doing pinch pleat curtains? Sharita, I love what you're doing in your place. Like, I wish I could decorate. I need you to come down here to my house and show me how to do some things. I remember, and Curry probably remember this, when I was younger, my kids were younger, I would actually make stuff in my home, like drape, just do all cutesy little curtains and things like that. But as I gotten older, busier, or more so probably since I started working, I don't do stuff around my home like I used to. But I used to make toilet seat covers, the back of the tank covers. Used to do placemats and all kinds of stuff. I don't even do that no more. All right, so I'm going to put my laptop on so I can actually see y'all's comments, okay? Bear with me. I promise you I'm gonna start sewing. But I can't see your comments like this. All right. That way I won't have to keep looking this way. All right, so you guys saw the vest that I was working on, and I decided to line the vest with the same denim because it's a lightweight denim. So I'm going to line the vest. Oh, and here's the pants. Those are the pants that I'm making. This is from pattern of, it's a Vogue pattern. It is Vogue. I think this is it. Yeah, it's Vogue 2017. It's Vogue 2017, so y'all check that out. All right, I'm gonna bring y'all a little bit closer so you can see. You won't be able to see me stitching anything, but at least you know I'm sewing, right? All right, so what I did was went ahead while I was on live the other night. I went ahead and interfaced all of this. And when I jumped off live, I went ahead and did the little stitch the front at the shoulders together, stitch the front and the front side, the back and the back sides together, and stitch under the arm. So now I think I'm at the point where I need to do the collar. And let me get logged in here. All All right, let me go to my own channel here so I can see you all. All right. Hey, Stacy, how art thou? I was just talking about you today, Stacy. You're in you're in Alabama. I know you're in Alabama, but how close are you to Birmingham? Or are you familiar with Lysandra Dion or Lysandra Wise? She's in Alabama also, but I think she said she might be about 2 hours away from you. You're 20 minutes from Birmingham? Okay, yeah, so you're about probably an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes away from her. But she's about to open up shop. I have to introduce you to together, but yeah, she's there. Okay. So, but yeah, she's about to open up an alteration shop there, and I'm very excited for her. But I told you guys, I should introduce you to each other. You'll probably know when she see it because she's been in the So Much Talent group for a while, for a long time. All right, so most of the times I don't follow the instructions, y'all, and not because I'm all that and a bag of chips, because I'm not. But a lot of stuff I've sewn before, or the structure of it, but like this one's unique. Like I say, Vogue a lot of times will throw you a curveball because it is Vogue. They try to do trendy things and they try to do stuff that's different from the last time. And so a lot of times they'll do something, a technique or something, or style something, or cut something different. All right, I'm gonna make that happen. I'm gonna make that happen. All right, so one of the things that I was trying to decide to do was the pocket. So I interfaced the pocket, but it needs a lining. So I didn't think to cut the lining out. So I'm going to do that. Cut a lining out, and then I can always do the pocket later. So I'll go back and do that. But I'm going to put this aside for right now. And can I tell y'all one more time? I'm excited about this jacket. Y'all, I can't wait. And I can imagine what it's going to look like in that white and that green. See the green? You can see a little peek of it right there. But that white on white, I can only hope it's going to look as good as me as it did I was going to say Miss Linda. Hey, Miss Linda. As it did on Zendaya. But you see on this pattern, it has the welt pockets. I'm not doing the welt pockets. I'm doing the patch pockets just like the Zendaya suit. I want to make it as close as possible to that suit. And what I may do is that satin chemise or chamoose blouse and the satin chamoose tie, because it just lends to elegance and richness, like just silky smooth, right? Y'all, I just can't wait till this is done. If this gonna look good, then I'm gonna move forward and march on and make it happen. Good evening, good evening. All right, so I'm gonna try to follow this step by step. So what I've done so far is steps 1 through, if you have this pattern Vogue 1879, this is not technically a sew along. I'm just y'all watching me sew. All right. So I've technically done on the jacket. Where is this at? Okay, so jacket A, which is only one jacket. So I've done all the way up to step 12, more or less, because I'm not doing the pocket like this. I'm not doing the welt pocket. So I did everything up into step up to step 2. pretty much. Maybe step 3 because I stitched up that dart where the welt pocket is. So I eliminated steps 3 through 12. Now I'm going to move into 14. 14 is where I'm going to start adding the collar in, okay? So again, for those of you that are just coming in, thank you for watching. If you don't mind, click those likes, click that like button, and subscribe if you're not a subscriber already. I don't know what you're waiting on. What you waiting on? All right, so I am going to add the collar in, the under collar, which is 9. And y'all, I don't always like to do my under collar like they do it, but I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try to obey the rules. I'm gonna act like I don't know nothing. Trying to make sure I got the right piece. So y'all were on the other night with me and I marked everything up, marked the circles, the placement points and everything. So I gotta put the right color thread on. Okay, that's blue. Change my thread out here. This was the color of my dress I worked on today, so I never did change it. One of my goals is to, and I'm already probably almost at an hour now, but definitely no longer than an hour and a half maybe. But my goal is not to hang out on a video too long, because I know y'all attention span is not that long. Mine wouldn't be either. But y'all can always come back and watch it. Y'all can fast forward, rewind, and do all the things. One day I'll get grown enough to actually add time markers in there. But this ain't the time. Ain't there yet. All right. So it's so funny. My tech tip today for the for the pacemakers. Lord Jesus, not for the pacemakers. My tech tip today for the seam makers was how to thread a needle, a hand sewing needle, without a threader, needle threader. And I know that sounds so basic, and some of y'all probably seen me talk about this before, but it was just something to get my feet wet. Excuse me, doing the tech tips. But I'll share that, probably post it to Instagram. I mean, to here to YouTube as a video post today. I'm thinking it's gonna be I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that, because if I share it with I share it with them, it'll be Tuesday, but if I share it with you, it won't be Tuesday, will it? So I gotta figure out when I should share that. All right, so if you didn't see my video last week, like I said, I was mentioning earlier, I decided to fuse the jacket all the way down. And that's important because when I get to do the sleeve, I'm going to have to probably tack it in place. Well, no, I won't have to tack it in place. I won't have to do that because I'm not doing a lining. If I was doing a lining, that would be important because I would need something to tack the hem up to. But that'd be for another day. All right, so I do need this jacket back. All right, so you can see here what I decided to do was overlap the interfacing a little bit, and you don't have to do that. I just chose not to cut it on the fold. I chose to utilize as much of this interfacing as I possibly could. I didn't have to overlap it that much, but I did. It's okay. I did not press this out yet, which I should have. So don't look at that. All right, so I have to make sure that I have this placed in the right way. So this is the whole neck edge of the collar, of where the collar is going to be. And this is the lower edge of the under collar. So you have to be really careful. That long flat side is the top side. There's a convex curve and a concave curve. This is the convex side of it, and this is the concave side. Which concave, if you remember, if you think of it as just sunk in, and then the convex or convex curve is out, and the concave is caved in, it's inward. I hope that makes sense. So the concave part, the bottom of the collar, is what I'm attaching to the neck edge. So I matched up, I clipped out my center part. All right, I had to get my clips, because every last box of my clips, I've got them put somewhere where they don't need to be. All right, here you want to make sure I've got my neck edges matched up. That's my shoulder seam actually matched up at that point. That's important. Now for these, I actually do like to use my pins because it holds those spaces in place. And you see right here last week where I actually stitched, reinforced those clipped edges right there, because that's where they have to curve and move. So that the same place is where I had to clip this so that it's going to open up and move where it needs to move. Okay. Seam Maker is the group on Instagram. It's my broadcast channel. So I was just able to open up my broadcast channel. I've been trying to for over a year now. And I finally was released to open it up. So, and basically it's just like on YouTube. YouTube is not YouTube, I'm sorry, my Facebook page. I have an open Facebook page and I have a private first Facebook page. And so the Seam Makers, the broadcast channel, I keep looking here because of the thing. The Seam Makers broadcast channel is kind of like that. My Instagram public page is public, but then I have the private sector, if you will. You know, and sometimes there are things that I want to share. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, sometimes there are things that I want to share that I don't want to share to the public just yet. That I will share with the private folks. And so that's what that's about. And so realize there are some, I have a lot of followers that follow me on Instagram that don't follow me on Facebook. And so I choose to share that with them on Facebook. Now, is there a... Okay, there we go. There we go. So I'm going to pin this here just like that. Okay. And then, because apparently there's a little... Oh, I see what it is. Never mind. See, I'm about to mess up because I'm trying to make this little piece fit here, and I'm trying to figure out why it don't fit. Well, it's not supposed to fit because that's the collar. It's standalone. So there's a dot right there that I'm supposed to stop at. So I'm going to do just that. I'm going to put my pen through the dot, through that little placement mark, and then I'm going to put it right here as well. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there, and that's going to be crucial because everything needs to fit in the pocket, like it needs to fit precisely in order to get a crisp collar. Yeah, make sure if you're on Instagram, make sure you join us up on Scene Makers, because you'll get the tech tips, and also you'll get the first dibs on what's going on with Patreon, whatever invites there are, sewing retreats, all that information. Outside of Patreon, you'll be the first to get that information. I'm gonna clip that right there. Yeah, I don't mind pinning like the collar and stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna change that because I want that collar to be on point. No pun intended. I want it to be on point. All right. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over so that I can sew right where those points are. So I can sew, and I'm going to open up these edges where I didn't press it. And then I'll show you, once I stitch it, I'll show you what I did. I'm stitching a 5/8 inch seam allowance. And I am using a 3 well, almost a 3.0 stitch length. How many of you are already on Patreon or follow Patreon members? Not all members are paid members. Like I say, you can join and you don't have to pay, but you'll only be privy to certain information. But there are a lot of folks that are on Patreon. Yeah, I started not to do it because I was thinking of other platforms. I was thinking of going back to just using the basic So Much Talent Classroom, which I may still deposit or dump some of these videos into the So Much Talent Classroom. Okay. I have to pivot a little bit. Let's make sure I'm pivoting right. I'm stitching in place. Is it Chike? Good evening, good evening. Who is this chick? AZ? Is it me? Trying to read that right. How are you? If you see me looking forward and I talk, that's because I forget I'm looking at the wrong thing. I am supposed to pin this. I forgot to pin this side. Okay. Here we go. I'm just not supposed to pin that edge right there. So bear with me while I get that little corner that I missed. And I try to sew in place where I can. I'll show you something in a second. Let me go back through here. Do this one more time. Make sure I catch this good. Okay. And I'm going to go over this one more time to make sure I caught this over here good. So I'll show you what I did here. My next thing is to get me like a little overhead, a second little overhead camera or something so you can actually see what I'm doing on this side. It's kind of hard for you to see, right? But I'll walk you through what I just did. Hey, Zena. Oh, my goodness. Hey, friend. Y'all have so many handles. I had to figure y'all out. All right, so this is what I did here. All right, so see where I clipped it at, and you can see why I clipped it because it's got to be able to flex, for lack of a better word. And see, this is where it had to meet up. Like there's a point right there that had to meet up right there where that point is. So what I did was stitched all the way across here. And then I stitched all the way across here, right? So it should get right in there in that point. And I did the same thing here. I stitched all the way across here, trying to making sure, hopefully catching that little cut in right in there, and then stitching all the way across here. So let's see, how did I do? All right, so there it is right there. So the little part, the little white that you see right there, that's the thread. That was the basting stitch that I did. I'm just gonna go ahead and clip that basting stitch out. And this is not something I do right away. I usually, but just to show you, because it almost looks like it didn't get stitched up good, but it did. Okay. I didn't get it all clipped out, but you can see that's just a little thread right there. But you can see how now it's in there. It's set in there and it's flexible. So I'll just go in and trim it. Now, if you were doing, like I'm getting ready to do the lining, getting ready to do the upper collar. So I can go in and I can press this out, or I'll press this, more than likely press this up. I'll more than likely press this up because I don't plan on lining this. I should have, because now all of the interfacing is going to be exposed. So I may decide to go back in and do a light lining. Something fun and something colorful, probably. But that's something I can decide to do later. All right. But I'll probably go ahead and push this upward. If I decide to do the lining, I'm just going to go ahead and flatten that out like this, and the lining will cover this part of it, so it won't be so bulky, but we'll see. All right, so did the same thing on this side. So I don't know if you can see that. All right, and now you can see where I basted it at. But got that set in there. And so this, once it's all said and done, the upper collar is going to go here, and that's your little peak lapel part right there. Okay. Yeah, it's better than pivoting. You're right. That's why I did it. When you sew straight across, you almost guaranteed to get it if you mark it up just right. That's why I said on the last video, it's so important to mark every spot, every point that you need to mark, because it's crucial to a perfect fitting garment. It's crucial to a perfect set-in collar. That's a tip within itself. That was free. All right, so I can go back in later and clip those out. What's your YouTube name? Oh, Cheek. How you pronounce? Is it Cheek? Chick? Is it Chick? And what's AZ? Z for Zena? And me, is that for me? Or my chick? All right, so I should have had me a little tabletop iron over here, because then I have to go over there and iron and press this out and everything. But let's go ahead and get the, all right, so it's having me do it's going to the sleeve next. Why, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and try to finish out the collar part, and we can do the sleeve later. It jumps from 14, which is the collar, and then it goes into the sleeve. So let's see. See if I can pick up the collar somewhere. So that was page 5. This page 2. Oh, page 3 must have fell on the floor. All right. Okay. All right, so this is page 3. Yeah, why it jumps to the sleeve, I don't know. That's kind of crazy. But I guess, and the sleeve has nothing to do with the lining. Oh, I know what it is that they take the face and you put the sleeve on, and then it's going to put the lining in. Well, we're not getting ready to do that part. So we're going to reroute this whole thing, because I might not do the lining, but I could always add the lining in later. But I'm going to go ahead and finish up the collar part. Sometimes they do it a little bit different, and it might be the best way. I don't know. But I am going to actually, let me go ahead and do the facing part. So that's this part right here. This is almost like the peak lapel part, but this is the part that's going to fold. This is the part that you'll see once it's all said and done. Yeah. This is the part that'll go back behind the neck. And that's the part that you'll actually see on the outside. So a lot of times I'll put my collar pieces on first, and then I'll sew the this part in. But since they've done it this way, I'm gonna try to be good, y'all. Try to be good. Gonna try. All right, so I'm gonna lay this out with the peaks pointing inward. So that means that this part right here is going around the neck. So I'm gonna lay the little peaks together in the center, and then I'm gonna lay this out. Okay, so I'm gonna clip this cattle corner wise clipping that to the peak. And when you clip these and you make the circles, make sure that you're not clipping through the circles or through the points, but right up to the circle. That makes sense, because you don't want to have to stitch those corners and then you miss something. Like, and if you happen to miss it, you'll see like a little hole right where I stitched it. If I had a stitched or clipped too far in there, then you would see like a little opening or a little hole that you couldn't close up. So you don't ever want to do that. It's better to clip not enough and then clip to when you get to it than to clip too much from the beginning. I hope all of that makes sense. All right, so I'm matching up points. What'd you learn? I'm so slow. Chic as me. Oh my goodness. Yes, right there in my face. Chic as me. I probably wouldn't have got it. That's clever. That's very clever. All right. So what that means in here, oh, hang on. I'm making sure, mark that spot. Okay. All right. It might seem like or feel like it don't fit, but just pin the circles. Like I'm pinning through one circle of the circle on the collar, and then I'm pinning through the circle on the lapel, and everything else will fit in. Yeah, like it don't want to fit. Got the circle here, but I didn't clip. So I'm going to stop right there. Felt like it don't want to match up right there. So there's a big gap right in there. Why is that? I have to make sure I have it clipped right. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because it looks like it don't want to match up, and I'm not sure why, so I'm going to go ahead and put this collar piece on. I keep looking here. Put my collar piece on, and then I'm going to make this, then I'm going to sew this part on last, because I want to make sure it matches up. Make sure this is going to match up here. Okay. Just a little tiny bit off there. Okay. I'm just checking fit, y'all. All right, so it fits there. All right, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and sew this collar part on. And then we'll get that other part, make sure that it matches. It might be, well, I don't know if that makes any difference. I was going to say it might be because the upper collar is cut a little bit wider than the bottom collar, because the top collar has the roll under. Like you don't want to see the seam at the top. And so it's cut a little bit deeper, just maybe about not even an eighth of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch, maybe an eighth of an inch. So it can roll under. That's why the collars are cut separate. Instead of them cutting just two of the same thing, they cut it differently to make sure that we're going to cut it right. Yeah, sewing is all about technique. You say you learn how not to pivot. Okay. Yeah, those are techniques you learn along the way. But clipping it, you wouldn't be able to sew it like that if you didn't clip it properly. All right, I'm matching up my circle right here. I can go down a little bit more. I'm telling you, sewing, making those marks is very, very, very important. I can't stress that enough. Because you figure, oh, I don't need that. I don't know how to lay it down. But you see how I just had an issue with pinning it? Even though I marked it, it didn't feel like it was matching up. So I have to double check that. But when I pin this in place, or when I stitch this, it's not going to make a difference. I'm just doing it the way I've always done it. It's still going to lend to the same results. Still going to get that collar on. I'm still going to get this in there. So it's going to be fine. But all right. So the only thing I'm going to do now is stitch the top part of the collar down to that little side part, the little notch. And then you'll see how I get that in. Okay. I had to make sure I get it right there in that circle, because if you don't, you'll impede, or you'll keep the and you'll see that I try not to stitch through the lines at the collar points, because you want to be able to clip as much of that fabric out as you can. I'll show you what I did. I try to get it right. Don't always work. But yeah, if you stitch too far down past the line where the intersections are, then you won't be able to flatly fold out the corners. You'll have too much fabric in there. But this is kind of the stuff that you'll see me doing on not YouTube, but on in the classes, the tips and techniques, because I think it's once a month. I think once a month for now. I can't remember how I had it set up, but once a month I'll be doing a Zoom session. Now there's Zoom sessions, and then there's the webinars and stuff, so that you'll see us actually like teaching something. Like I'll be teaching again the designer gown class, or I'll be teaching about prices, or I'll be teaching some kind of technique. But the Zoom sessions will just be like a free for all, not free for all, but free for the patrons, so that you could come in and watch. We talk and you ask questions, stuff like that. There won't be an additional payment for that. However, like the classes, of course, there'll be payments for those, but all Patreon members will get early bird access to it. You get early bird specials, early bird discounts, and things for those particular classes. You're a miracle. All right, I'll go back in and clip out what I need to clip out. Thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. So it's all about techniques. Okay. All right. So this is what I was saying. Like, I try not to go through, we have a tendency, just like I did the corners where I told you I stitched straight across and straight across here, where I try not to do that on the corners of the lapels or of the collar, because you want to be able to clip out as much of that fabric as you possibly can. And when you have stitches going across, it makes it hard to eliminate the fabric. It makes it hard to eliminate that excess bulk in there. So I try not to stitch that. But what I am going to do is right across the very peak of the of that notch right there, of that collar point, I'm going to kind of go over that. I did it a little bit when I stitched back and forth right there in that corner, but I try to do that so if when I turn it inside out and I poke it out with the point turner, it will create a barrier that keeps the point turner from going through the fabric. You want a nice little point there, but you don't want to poke too hard and it goes through. So stitching right across here in that corner, just right there in that corner across it, it won't take away from you creating a point there, but it will make it will actually define it a little bit, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get right here and I'm going to turn my stitch width to a 1 because I don't want it to stitch. I don't want to make too wide of a stitch. That makes sense. So I'm being very careful. It might make 1 or 2 stitches. Okay. All right, so you might be able to tell the difference. You might not be able to. All right. See right there, I stitched across it. So it just looks darker, but I did stitch right across the top. So then I can go in and I can clip that corner and I can clip it close. But because there's a barrier there, it won't come undone. And then I won't poke through it. So I'm just kind of going back and forth. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and clip close to that. And then I am going to, which one? Trying to decide which side because I want to grade it a little bit. Graded means that I just cut the seams, one seam a little bit shorter than the other one so that it's not clipped at the same time. Grading would be kind of like this. And this is for somebody who might not know what grading is. So if you know, sorry. Not trying to tell you something you already know. All right, so grading kind of looks like that. Okay, so one seam trimmed a little bit lower than the other one. What that does is it allows the seam on top to lay flatter, the longer seam to lay flatter without having extra bulk. Does that make sense? So when this top part lays down, it'll lay down and it's not doubled, but it has a little bit less seam underneath it. So, and that's what you kind of want, right? So with that being said, I am going to trim down the seam that's closest to me. So when this top seam folds down over it, it'll lay flatter. I'll show you what this looks like. But definitely in the corners, I want to trim as much as I possibly can. And I probably top stitch this as opposed to understitch it. So once I turn this over, I will press it flat. You do want to trim out as much of the seam as you possibly can. And if you're taking long strokes, try not to take short strokes when you cutting, because then it'll be easier on your wrist. You want to try to take long strokes if you possibly can. And you want to trim the next seam about 1/16 of an inch, not quite 1/8 of an inch above that one, because again, you don't want too much seam allowance left in there. You want to have maybe 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance left, between 1/4 of an inch and 3/8 of an inch seam allowance left. And I'm going to get down to the corners. I do want to kind of eliminate that, because the whole point of getting rid of that excess at the corner is so you don't have a bulky point. All right, so that is me grading. Does that make sense? And then right there at the corner, you can see that right there. It's eliminated most of that right there at that corner. So I'm going to flip this out so you can see what that did. Now I have a flatter one, even flatter than this. I might try to go in there and pick it out. Try not to use pins if I can help it, because pins are poked through. Okay, that one kind of pushed through better. Okay, there we go. The whole idea is to make sure that they both pretty much look the same. This feels a little bit flatter. Sometimes I use my flathead screwdriver to get in there. Does anybody else use a flathead? Okay. All right. I'm just going to kind of finger press this a little bit. Now what's going to happen, this top seam is going to roll out just a little bit, just a fraction more higher than the other seam. So once it's pressed, it's going to kind of look like that. Okay. So when it rolls over, you won't see, this top part won't look like this. Like, it's okay that the bottom looks like this because you won't see it. So you don't want the top part to show a seam like that. When the top rolls over, it should look like this. There's a little thread or something in there. But you want the top to look like this. You want it to look smooth with no seam showing. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to put one of these lapel collars in. What time is it? It's 1:30. All right, so I'm going to put one side in so you can see what I just did here to make sure that we get that in there correctly. Sometimes I feel like the patterns will take you a longer route to do something. And if you don't know how to sew it, you'll follow that route and it seems like you'll get confused. All right, but it's always, to me, seems like the easier way. So I'm going to pin it and then you'll see what I'm talking about. I had somebody, had to walk somebody through a jacket, was it a year ago? Anyway, because the way they did it, it was so confusing. And again, making sure that you mark everything is so important. So I'll make sure we line this up right. So the piece that I just stitched on and this piece, I'm now getting ready to sew together. And again, sometimes I will stitch, I don't mind pinning extra just to make sure that that seam is set in where it's supposed to be set in. Okay, I'm making sure that the edges of all the collar, all the seams are meshed. That's going to be important in making sure that that collar rolls like it should. Before I stitch it, I'll show you what it looks like after I've pinned it. So just going back over, make sure you mark your points and your notches and make sure you're clipping deep enough, but not too deep. Not too deep because you don't want to leave any cut openings at any corners or anything like that. All right. So this is what it looks like on this side. All right. And so I'll probably do the same thing, stitch right across here and then stitch right across here. But this is your seam allowance or your shoulder seam right here. You can see that on this side. That's your shoulder seam. All right. And this is where your collar lapel will fold back right at this point. Okay. So I'm going to stitch here, but I'm going to pivot right in here and go out to here and then go out. Okay. Now, if you want to, so you make sure that you don't stitch across, that you just create that point, you pivot where you need to. You can mark out your seam allowances. Where's my tape measure? Okay. So I'm going to, I need me a pen. Oh, got my marker. It's my erasable marker. So you know your regular tape measure. All right, this is another tip. Regular tape measure is 5/8 of an inch. So you can use that to mark what you need to mark. Just line it up. Yeah, next time I do this, I may do this using StreamYard so that way you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I'm making sure I'm marking this, lining this right up to the cut edge. Okay. And I don't need to go all the way down. I just want to go right where I'm going to be stitching so I can create that intersection so I'll know how far to go, how far not to go. Now, if you want to do the same thing right there in those pivot points, you can do that too. Just make sure you mark where you need to stitch and where you shouldn't stitch. Alright, so this will tell me how far to go and how far not to go. Alright, I'm do the same thing on this side too. I don't need to do it on this part. Alright. Okay, so see what I just did there? I just marked my pivot points right there. Now I might end up not going down that far. And then again, I don't know. But see right here where I pivoted right here across the line, so to speak. See, I have my pen right there at the point where I need to pivot at. So that's where I'm going to pivot. Okay. Good night, my friend. Good night. Good night. All right, so I won't be on here much longer. I'm just going to put this side in and then I'm going to call it a night. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch this all the way down. All right. So remember I went in and trimmed some of the excess interfacing out. So I'm going to go ahead. The interfacing that went over, just for me, you don't have to do this. You can probably eyeball it and see, but I'm trimming out the extra interfacing that overlapped because I want to be able to see, make sure I'm lining up my seams properly. Okay. There's a little notch mark right here. Now remember last week, well not last week, the last time I was on, I told you I placed the marks for the buttonholes and the button. So don't press this out before you actually mark that in place, okay? Or find some other way to mark that so it doesn't disappear before you actually get a chance to put that buttonhole in place. All right, so this is where, I know you can see that line for the road line. This is where you actually place a little twill tape on that part. You actually have to hand sew it in, or you would sew it into the interfacing piece, not the interfacing piece. Yeah, it would actually be this side. So I would recommend that you would hand sew that in because you don't want to stitch it so it'll go through the interface. And now you won't see it really because it'll be on the bottom side, but you don't really want to see any kind of stitching on your jacket, whether it's on top or the bottom. Now, if you're doing like a sew-in lining or something, you can stitch it on the sew-in lining. But you definitely don't want to, you really don't want to stitch it through your jacket. Oh, I changed my stitch length back to, I'm going to do 2.5 or 2.75. You want to make sure your cut edges are flush to each other. Can make a difference how stuff fits. Now all my pieces are interfaced, so they should be stable and should not be one side should not end up higher or longer than the other one. Being careful to stitch 5/8 of an inch. And don't worry, I'm working my way back up to the collar. And again, I apologize, you can't actually see me stitching this, but I'll show it to you. Now, as I get to the collar, I'm going to shorten my stitch length to 1.5 because I want to take shorter stitches to make sure that I get close to that little point. I don't want to go past the intersection. I want to land right there on the intersection. And then I'm going to stitch in place. Okay. All right, then I'm going to turn back to 1.5. I'm going to pivot. And 1.5, and I'm going to keep going down. All right. Okay. All right, so now I'm going on around to, ouch. Going on around. This is where I'm getting ready to cross over to the collar part, okay? All right, now I'm going to pivot. All right, now I'm going to stay on track. I'm taking my pins out. Change this back to 2.5. Almost forgot. Still doing 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay. So I'm at that collar point where I'm going to sew straight across one side. And then I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to start from one end and stitch straight through where that little pivot part is. Now I'm going to kind of back stitch right there to make sure I catch it all. All right, and so I am sewing where I can see the shoulder seam, so I'm going to stop right on top of the shoulder seam. I'm going to stop right at the shoulder seam. Okay. All right. So let me flip this over because okay, you caught it. All right, it just almost looked like it didn't catch the fabric in there. Hey, Jacqueline, how art thou? You like this new mic? Me too. Thank you for saying so. All right, so that's what it looks like on this side. Okay, that's what it looks like here. See, that allowed me to stretch that part right there. Although you can see where, oh, you know what? Here, let me do something. I might have to bring that up. Okay, so let me show you what I'm doing. Okay. So on the other side, it looked a little bit different. Well, it is a little bit off on the other side. I can feel where that collar stops at. And so it's not quite lining up. All right, so you can see where I stitched it in black. So where the green is where I need to go back up, and I need to stop right there where that line is. So somehow I got off. So I'm gonna go back and stitch across that green line and stop right there. It's pivot right where that line is. And you can see it on this side as well. See where the black line is where I stitched right here. So I need to be up here a little bit more, and I need to stop right there. So that way it'll be more in line with where that pivot mark is. So let's go back in. Okay. All right, so that's more like it. And so what I need to do now is just go in and clip that thread out, the original thread that I stitched, because that's going to be, that'll throw it off just a little bit. But before I do that, I'm going to go across that peak right there like I showed you before. So when I get ready to turn it inside out, I won't poke through it. So I'm going to turn my stitch down to 1.0. Just give it 1 or 2 stitches back and forth. Okay. All right, so you can see on that point how I got it right on the mark. So never mind those little threads right there, but you see how I got it right on the money, right there. So I'm gonna clip that. Now I'm gonna go in and take a loose what I stitched the first time. That's why you go back and you double check. It's always good to mark. Might not always come out perfect, but you can double check it. Would y'all prefer I had music playing in the background while I work? Or is this okay? Let me know what y'all think. All right. And here we go. All right. Now I'm going from the back side. Yeah, remember I stitched this like a 1.5 stitch length. So it's a little bit tighter stitches that I gotta undo, but they'll come out. Okay, I think I got it. All right, so now, much better. So I don't know if you can see that now. Much, much, much better. All right. All right, so the whole purpose of that little pivot right in there and to cut that is so that this will have some give. It's just like sewing around a circle. If you don't clip the circle, give it notches, it's not gonna fold out. It's not going to form the circle like it should. It just be crinkle. But if you don't clip this, it's not going to open up. It's not going to bend or fold. And so that's what you want to do. All right. All right. So let's go in and I am going to trim this. Oh, this is the other thing I want to show you. I stopped right at the seam, at the shoulder seam. And this is right where the shoulder seam ends, right where that stop. And that's so you'll be able to fold this back if you need to. Or you can serge it. You can leave it open and serge it, however you want to do it. So I haven't decided if I'm going to line it yet because, like I said, this is a wearable muslin. I didn't want to put too much into it. But at the same time, I do want to wear it. I think it's going to be nice. So see how I clipped that in there? I just scooped that out and it's already a little notch right in there. So, but I am going to do like I did the other one. Trim it out. Now some of your seams will have like 3 or 4 seams because you stitched extra fabric on top. So you have to keep that in mind when you grading. Each seam that you stitch up, want to stitch up a little bit higher. So that bottom one might start off being real close to the seam. You don't want to be too close because you don't want the seam to come undone. But you do want to make sure that you grade it in there because you don't want the seams too thick. Oh, got a stitch right in there. Okay, right where that little peak is, I'm going to trim that out, kind of cat a corner, because I don't want any. I don't want that fabric in there. So I'm going to clip right across that point right there. And I'm going to trim. So if you turn your scissors sideways and trim, it a lot of times will trim. It'll grade it for you. See right there. Now this one had multiple layers right there. You see how I graded that out? Okay. Then I'm clipping cat a corner at that little point because I really don't want much bulk up there at all. Okay. So I'll go back in there in a minute and trim out the rest of that, but I just want to go ahead and turn this under. Okay. And you want to do the same thing right here in this area here. I'm trimming that cat a corner. All right, I'll go back in and trim that up. I'll trim the rest of that up, but I just want you to kind of see this. Now this collar has a point to it. No, that's the wrong one. All right, so you see that collar has a little point to it, so it's going to have a little point once you turn it out. Okay. Now I am going to use a pen to get this in here. Now I think on this one, I stitched mine where you can, I think on theirs they stitched that little peak together. You don't have to. But if you follow directly, I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Now this is what I don't like to do, but because it was so far down in there, I had to dig it out. And I don't know if anybody can recommend something that you can kind of stick in there that sticks really far. Like a chopstick might do it. That you can get down in there. Chopstick has a little point to it. I think I do have a chopstick. Do that later, but let's see, I might still be able to use this and get in there. Now, if your fabric is not interfaced, you want to stretch and pull too much because then you don't want to stretch it out of shape. All right. So see how I did mine? I might be better to open it, show it to you. And I may do the other one. I may show the other one exactly the way the pattern did it, so you'll see. I can't fold that arm all the way back like that. That collar's coming out because I don't have it stitched down. All right. So see how that part is freestanding? If you want yours adjoined right there, I think the pattern has it adjoined. You see how it does. Yeah. So the pattern has it adjoined, but it also makes it look like it's longer than what this is. So if you want yours adjoined like this, you can actually sew it. When I was sewing the collar on, I could have stitched it to the collar part. That part where I told you it looked funny, looked like it wasn't supposed to be there. Well, actually, you can adjoin it. They apparently have it sewn on there just like this. Now, if you missed that and didn't do it and you want it to look like that, you can actually go in and kind of hand tag that in. Let me show you what I'm talking about. That's not going to make or break your garment. Some jackets are sewn like that where they're freestanding. But I want to show you where. Let me do it this way. And once you press it, this will come out a lot better. You press it and try to do this. Okay, so I'm going to do it first from the underside. Take a thread. I'm going to use a colored thread so you can see what it looks like. You say it's okay for you? Yeah. Yeah, that's how I normally do mine. Some are done this way, and there's nothing wrong with either way. I guess it would be a personal preference. But just in case you decide, hey, I would rather it to be close together like that. This is something that you can go back and do. It's not a lost cause. This was part of my tip today. Showing you thread. How many of you are in the Seam Makers broadcast channel on Instagram? All right. So you want to go in and stitch this. And again, I wish I could show you this. But you want to go in and stitch this where you can't see it. So I'm just going to go into part of the lapel. Oh, I didn't mean to come back out. I'm going to just pick up a piece in here, and when it's all said and done, you're not going to be able to see the thread. Because that's the whole point. You don't want to see any of the stitches. I didn't stitch enough going in. Basically what I'm doing is kind of going into the side. You don't want to leave any gaps in there, so you might see gaps in mine because I didn't do it close enough. You want to do it just as if you were stitching something by hand. Just kind of going in and out of the fabric. I would probably baste it on this side, on the bottom side first, and then go in through the top and stitch it down. Okay, so let's just assume I basted that from the bottom. Okay. Of course, you're going to be using the same color thread. So I basted this from the bottom. You cut all of the excess threads and stuff out. Okay, once you baste it, you can clip the basting stitch out. But then you'll go back in through the top. And come out. Okay. And go back in. Catching that one side to the next without going completely through the fabric can be hard. Can be testy. But you can do it. All right, and I'm going to go back down through the bottom side. Now I'll probably clip this back out. All right, now keep in mind you're seeing the basting stitches. All right. All right, so you would stitch that down, but I think I kind of like it open, y'all. It may look better once it's actually pressed and everything. Something about something about it reminds me of a Doberman Pinscher. Those Doberman Pinscher ears. All right. So once the collar is folded down, all right, then you have that lapel. All right, so now it don't look so bad, right? Don't look so bad once it's laying flat and down. Now I'll put my shoulder pads in, but I don't know. What do y'all think? I don't know why I kind of like that wide collar. I wish it was a little bit wider like that. And maybe once it's open, Maybe I don't have it, have too much pressed under. Yeah. No, maybe if I make it, once I make it again, I may make it a little bit wider. I don't know, but I kind of like that wide collar. What do y'all think? Thanks, Curry. Yeah. So I may go back in and on this side, I may do the right. I stitch it together on this side so you guys can see the difference in it. But I may go in and actually, I'm going to take the purple out and restitch this together. Yeah, I think I do like it. Trying to see what it would look like. I think I like it together. I think I like it together, y'all. Anyway, that's what it is. All right, so I think I'm gonna stop right here, y'all. This is what we have for tonight. And as I keep working on this, I'm gonna eventually have me a jacket, y'all. I'm gonna have me a jacket. So let me go grab my little mannequin, place her on the mannequin so I can call it a night. Y'all, I have to have a cord over here that I'm trying not to trip over, so y'all don't have to see me fall on my face. All right, so this is coming together. So I'll get in there, go back in, open it back up, and do all the pressing and stuff that I need to do. But I like the way it's coming out. I'm very happy with it. And then once I do the patch pocket on it, the patch pocket is going to look really nice. Y'all, it's going to be nice. So I just got to find a cute little funky fabric to go with this, the lining wise. And I may just go ahead and line the inside of the jacket. Okay. But yeah, that's going to be nice. I'm excited. All right, y'all. So thank y'all. I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me. It's about almost 40 minutes longer than what I really wanted to go. I didn't want to go past an hour and a half. Really want to do past an hour, but hey, I got to telling y'all about all the new stuff that's going on. So I hope you will take the time. If you're on Instagram, join me on Instagram in the Sew Makers channel. And then stay tuned for the launch of my Patreon channel. And it's going to be so much talent. There's no different name for it over there. All right. Love y'all to life. Y'all have a blessed night. Talk to you later. Bye now.